The other day I was watching some guy step on ants because he didn't like ants. He was doing some work around my property, and I just couldn't. To me, it was painful to watch because I value life so much that I don't care how small a creature is or how large it is. I respect it just the same. Um, I've been referred to as an accidental Buddhist in the past. I have an aversion to killing anything. I mean, there's been some trees cut down on our property that I just didn't want to be around to see it. It's just the way I am. But I saw this guy stepping on these ants, and it occurred to me how easily people disregard creatures that are smaller than them as if they are less important. The reality of life is that our very existence is so heavily dependent on microbes, microscopic little organisms, little bugs, bacteria. There's something like 14 species of bacteria in our mouths, and like 11 of them are the good kind, or something like, I don't know the numbers, but just in our mouth. And there's microbes that live in our skin and in our bodies that if we didn't have them, we would just die. We wouldn't exist. We never would have gotten this far in the evolutionary timeline. And mosquitoes, as much as I hate them and have actually been known to kill mosquitoes, I even feel bad about that. They are important as well. They are nature's immunizers because they pick up things from animals and distribute them to other animals. And so people and animals get exposed to viruses and diseases. And those who have the stronger immune systems survive, and then they carry those genes on to their offspring, and it helps in the survival of a species in the evolutionary process. But people will go out and mindlessly, thoughtlessly go out and buy an ant trap or a bug strip or bug spray or some kind of heinous, horrible poison to deliberately put down in their houses to get rid of pests. And of course, it's a nuisance to have bugs in the house, and I don't like having bugs in the house, but there's got to be more balanced ways. I mean, I see spiders in my house. I leave them alone because they take care of the bugs naturally. Life feeds on life, and I understand that. It's taken me, I mean, it took me a good portion of my growing years to accept that, to come to terms with that, because that's the natural cycle, the natural order is life feeds on life. But to just arbitrarily kill something with no compassion for it, no consideration for the life that it has. We have no idea what the life experience is of a bug or an ant. But I was thinking about ants last night and how amazing they are. How amazing it is that they're able to do what they do. There was a string of ants that came into my kitchen one day. How they found their way from their ant hill, which was like way away from the house, through grass and weeds to get to their ant hill. Somehow they managed to find their way to my house, find a way into my house, and found the cat food in my kitchen. Took that information back to their hole, reported it to everyone else, and brought them all over. How do they do that? And then when you consider the construction of their chambers in their ant hills, the engineering involved in there, all this came from the minds, if you will, of some little ant, little tiny creature that we don't even claim to understand. How can we claim superiority over a creature like that when we can't even say that we understand how they can do what they do? I cut off their line by flooding one particular area of the yard one day to, as an experiment. So they had no way of getting from their hole to the kitchen or back. So the ones that were already in my kitchen, about an hour later I came in and they were all huddled together. Their line had disappeared, but they were all huddled together in this group, all standing around, most of them not moving. They're just standing like they were waiting. And there was another huddle, another group of them near the door. So after I'd shut off the water and the water dried up, their shipping lanes opened again. And a while later, I came in to find that the huddles were gone, the groups were gone, and their streams were back. They had their ants marching in and the ants marching out. How do they communicate? And how do we know that ants are not aware in some way? We don't understand what intelligence is. We don't understand what the brain is. We have no idea what the life experience is of an ant. But it's completely amazing what they can do. So it gives me pause anyway, and it should give everybody pause to consider that lower life forms are somehow insignificant from us? Why do people not question that? Anyway, I just couldn't come to terms with this guy stepping on the ants, and I was couldn't help but look at him and think, is that what a god would think of us if a god exists? Does he look down at us as inferior creatures that he could step on without thinking about and not losing any sleep over because maybe we're just a microbe or a pest? Something to think about.